Welcome to another episode of The Worthy Physician. I'm your host, Dr. Sapna Shah Hawk, reigniting your humanity and your passion for medicine. So, this is number 2 of our multi part series, partnering with GoSource. And we have President Juli Quinn again today. And honestly, Julie, I know we've had multiple conversations over the last several months. And I know I said that on the last episode, but the truth is I feel very energized when I talk to you. And it's just, I think the message and your dedication to making life better for physicians and for practices and hospitals really shines through and is very consistent throughout our conversations we've had. So I just want to share that with the listener and with you. So thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. That's very nice. I love our conversations. I'm passionate about medicine. I love the field of medicine. It is something very unique to any other industry out there. And I thank you and your listeners for being such a valued part of our community as our physicians.
Thank you for that. And I think community is a big part of that, isn't it? And last episode, we discussed the importance of RCM and really trying to make the listener understand that, okay, yeah, physicians, we don't like to talk about money, but it's not because it's really not a taboo subject. It is going back to that. We want to stay practicing. We want to stay as a hospital that is open in the community because that's why we went to medical school to be physicians, to be the best we can, to stay in the community and give back, make humanity healthier and better. But in order to do that, we need to have that mindset that we need to also get paid efficiently and effectively and fairly for what we do. To recap, last episode, we discussed that 20 to 30% is left on the table. We get paid for about 66% of what we do. And to me, that's alarming. It makes it very difficult to stay actively, actively and efficiently and effectively practicing within the community. But then also it limits the amount of community that we can add and keep if we're not able to pay fair wages, to be honest. Why is community such a big importance to you to GoSource? And let's start there and then I'll share why community is a big part for me as a physician.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much for asking that. We see our staff as not my 300 employees, but it's 300 families. They count on us to stay in business so that they can know that they have a steady paycheck for their own budgets. And then we have a community of our clients. That is a relationship that we support them so that they can serve their in-house staff and their patients with just 2 more communities, and we all need each other. We're all connected. Our purpose driven is actually affecting multiple layers of community, and that is something that is very special also about medicine because then you have this compassion and this empathy that is the basis of what medicine stands for, that is continued out through all these different layers and all these different positions, not just the doctor patient relationship, but all of the support services that are needed and that are vital to this whole industry that we call medicine.
I agree. I agree. So let's start out with there's a relationship, like you said, with the clinical part and the financial part. There's a connection with the front office staff and the medical assistant that's going to be rooming the patient. Each part, whether it's the front desk, the individuals that work in the back, hands on with the patient, whether it be a nurse, a phlebotomist, a medical assistant, the physician, and then even with the billing, there is a very key center, and that's the patient. We have that relationship. And it's not just delivering a service, or it's not just delivering an office visit. A lot of times it's as healing for the patient as it is the physician because of that connection. Well, that's why we went into medicine. But like we were talking about beforehand, not only are we part of a community with the practice or the patients or the physical location, but then there's also that sense of community, like you said, those are 300 families. It's the same approach in our clinic as well. And I think that really has to be appreciated and celebrated because without community, without that tribe mentality, it's really hard to exist. And we know that is one key aspect of trying to fight burnout. But also, we can relate that to finances and on the financial end. You're not, yes, you're there to collect for the physician, but you're also there to provide for your employees.
Correct. And our employees and our physicians' employees,
Right.
because we're not doing a good job, then they're not going to be able to keep their jobs. Let's face it, we are connected. The doctor is taking care of patients, but it is this whole community and multiple communities that interlock to make this possible
Right.
and to allow to not only sustain, but to grow.
And no, I appreciate that you pointing that out because again, it's not about I went into medicine to make money. I went into medicine to make life better, to be a healer, but I also want to get paid fairly for what I do because again, things are expensive and there's probably even more inflation in the world of medicine. The overhead keeps going up, reimbursement keeps going down. So let's look at ways to get paid for what we're already doing. For example, like lab reviews. Let's bring that in as an office visit or optimize telehealth. It's good for multiple reasons because we're capturing work for work that we're doing, but it also, I'm going to put it back for physicians. Let's think about this. We can send a letter. If it's appropriate, yes, send a letter. If it's appropriate to have your medical assistant or your nurse call, yes, have them do that. I'm talking about something that, hey, this lab was abnormal. I would recommend X, Y, and Z treatment. And this opens up to questions. Would that be viable for telehealth or an office visit instead of picking up the phone and calling every patient? Because also, there are only so many hours in the day. And so we have to delegate things. So I'm using the word optimization of our use of time and delegating things, but then also being able to incorporate a sustainable business model.
Yeah, that's really important question. What am I doing that is reimbursable? That ethically I should get paid for this. I find almost all physicians are undercoding the value of their level of visit and giving away a great deal of free service. And that is not going to, one, help with the burnout issue, and two, the financial picture. We really should look at capturing those hidden, not hidden, but areas that you've been giving away for free that is absolutely ethical to start billing insurance for.
And so some of those things would be not only what we do in the visit, but also getting ready for that visit, the time spent maybe calling a pharmacy or calling a specialist, documenting that time spent for
Yes.
before, during, or after.
So CMS, which everyone is familiar with, they set the codes and the edits of what is included in the description of each code. And is your listeners, I'm sure, are aware, we just had a revamping of our codes. Those are your office visits. That's your 99213, new patient or return patient, your evaluation and management codes. Because they actually were listening to doctors saying, hey, I do so much more than that 15-minute visit that I had the patient in the exam room and I was at the face-to-face encounter. It took reading the records prior to this visit. It's a new referral, and I want to bring myself up to speed on what has already been done for this patient. And then you're ordering, say at this encounter, labs, radiology tests, and then those results are coming back. You have to review those. And you might have a need to pick up the phone and talk with another doctor, one of their specialists, to collaborate on your diagnosis. And you should be paid for all of that. What's exciting is that you now will get credit, you meaning the doctor and your level of care, you will get credit for all of those extra services. You just have to know how to ask for it. And it seems daunting when CMS comes out with, oh, we have a whole new way of doing things. And everyone says, oh, no, I got to learn this. But it's actually pretty simple. You can go the easy route of just billing by time based, and it is your face to face. That's only your face to face encounter. And if that is all that was involved in the visit, then that is absolutely appropriate to use that. It's easy to defend if the insurance company is asking for chart notes to justify your level of visit, which is on the rise. So you have to be prepared that your medical record is going to justify. The other reason that time-based is really good is you get that patient every now and then that just needed a great deal of your time. And you should get paid for it. You're now running 30 minutes, 45 minutes behind on your whole schedule, but you couldn't leave them at that moment. They needed to have your ear for an additional 30 minutes, and you gave them that. You should get paid for that. They were not more complicated. So on the other way, which is the medical decision making, MDM way of determining a visit, they would not qualify for a high level, but they took your time. So you can go back and forth and decide today for this patient, time based is the most appropriate. Or the next patient on your schedule, the medical decision making is the most appropriate. And that is where you can now get credit for not just what you did, but the time your MA spent and those other things, the pre and post review of records, the talking with other doctors, all can be added to your chart note and bump up the level of your visit. And I'm not talking about let's just take advantage and what do I need to do to get more money out of this visit? It's let's get you paid for what you did. You're spending the money, the time, the resources to see this patient. If it's more difficult, you should get paid more. And that is now able to be done.
Thank you for that, because before it was not such that we're doing all this invisible work after hours, and now there's a way to capture that. Would it be helpful maybe like when we're going back to those work on your templates? And I find they're very easy to create, and you can really whittle them down to where they are efficient. But when we're working on those, or is it something that we could add, would it be worth putting the amount of time, like 20 minutes speaking with Dr. Jones regarding a patient? I'm just throwing out a name there, or 15 minutes on hold for pharmacy or the insurance company. If I'm the one actually doing that, should I putting that in my note as far as time chunks?
It doesn't hurt just because there are so many chart reviews now requested by these insurance companies. And we want to give them every reason to justify paying the claim because they're going to look for that one reason not to. And we want to be able to give them every reason to pay you. And so, absolutely, to add that, if it's easy enough for you to do, it only supports the chart visit.
I appreciate that because, again, we're already doing it. I think we all do our due diligence to deliver excellent, high quality care to our patients. That's the reason why we're still in clinical medicine. And even if you're not in clinical medicine, that's okay because now this is a learning point. But the thing is, let's get paid for what we're already doing. And other professions, they embrace this type of topic. So let's start embracing that and normalize these type of conversations.
Yes, if you have anything you need fixed, diagnosed and fixed in your home, let's say you call out a plumber, they're going to charge you for each time they come, and they're going to charge you for how long they were there, and they're going to charge you for each part that was used in the treatment of your problem. We we absolutely accept that and expect that in every other industry. It's time to start having those same expectations for medicine.
All right. Thank you so much for that. And again, just thank you for showing us the importance because before working with GoSource, you actually would go into a practice and consult on many of these things as well as others. Is that correct?
That is correct. I've been a practice management consultant for 23 years, and I've owned a medical billing service for 23 years. So it's been a journey of really finding where we can make protocol fixes to help the practice be more successful. I'm not changing the practice. I'm discovering what they do and how we can get those paid by the insurance.
Thank you for that, Julie. And again, we can reach you at gosource.in. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All
So
right.
it's
So that'll be in the show notes. And again, just thank you for everything you're doing, and we'll stay tuned for the next episode.
okay. Thank you, Dr. Sapna.